America. And we sail all the way across the ocean. Vroom, vroom, vroom. All the way across the ocean. All the way across the ocean until we get to... all the way down here. Here we come. We're coming. New York City. I made it to America. I've never been to America before. I only heard about it. Well, now we're in America. How do you get across the plains? Well, you know that. By covered wagon. That's what we do. We got to get a covered wagon and go to Utah. I didn't have any friends or any family with me. I was just 17 years old. And so I got a job kind of as a teamster and just would kind of help drive the wagons. And that was how I got across. And I kind of met up with some the young men, boys who would kind of help drive the wagons. They were kind of playing games, so I'd kind of talk to them. And during that time, I met a guy named Bill Stewart. And he said, "Hey, I'll hire you. Can you be a clerk? I'm carrying some goods. I'm carrying some bacon across the plains." And so I said, "Sure, oh, I'd love to." So I got my little trunk and I put it in his wagon. And I found a friend to go across the plains with. And that was good. And I helped with all kinds of stuff. We would hitch up the teams to the wagon in the morning. I would help build a fire. I would get wood for the fire. I carried water from the stream because we gotta have water. And I would help fix dinner too. Got some food here. And I ran out of food a little bit, but the boys, the other teamsters, they helped me out. They were good people. Bill Stewart, they helped me out. And I was glad to be with them. They were some nice guys. There was one of our fellas, he'd go out each day and just kind of, while I drove the wagon, he would go hunting. And he might get some deer and bring them back. And he would share them with everybody in the whole camp. And also, the Indians would come into the camp. And they would bring things that maybe they could trade and we could buy some food from them or different things that we need. It was kind of nice. Well, let me tell you, one day we had some Indians in the camp, and one of the Indians came in and said, "Hey, I'd trade you some horses for a white girl. I want to have a white girl to be my wife." And Apollos Driggs, he was another teamster. He thought the Indian was joking, and he said, "Oh, sure, you'd like wife for your, yes, we trade horses for wife. Here's a nice white girl." And we had a kind of a laugh about that. The Indian wasn't joking, just so you know. He came back, and he brought a bunch of horses and said, Here, I wish to trade for a wife. I want to trade for a wife." And Apollo said, "No, you can't trade. You can't buy a white woman. That wasn't what, no, we're not trading for a wife, dude. It was a joke, okay? It was a joke." And the Indian went away kind of mad. That was a bad thing. Because we reached a camp. We found a nice place to camp. And guess what? That Indian came back with a bunch of other Indians. And they took our oxen. All of the oxen, almost all the oxen that we were using to pull our wagons, the Indians stole them, okay? You don't try to joke around with Indians if they're being serious. You don't need to do that. That's kind of mean. They stole our oxen. It's like, oh, now what? The oxen pull the wagon. What are we supposed to do now? So we had a bunch of wagons, and we just kind of went kind of slowly with the few oxen that we had left, because we didn't have much left. And eventually we reached a point where there was some oxen from pioneers that came before us, you know, and their oxen had gotten tired, and so they left them at some kind of way places along the trail. And as we got there, Brigham Young sent a telegram, that's like a text, and said, hey, bring all the oxen you can with you. And guess what? We needed a ton of oxen. And so we were able to get some more oxen, thankfully, and we didn't have any more trouble with the Indians. And we got our wagons finally into Utah. And I finally made it to Utah, and oh my goodness, that was a long walk. Well, I have an uncle in Utah. It's my dad's brother. And so, when we got to Utah, we came into Salt Lake City, and I walked down to Springville. And that was where my uncle lived. And he said, oh, Herbert, you made it. How are all the folks over in England? I said, they're doing great. I got to help them get over here. Can I get a job? I'll work for you or I'll work for somebody. He said, yeah, absolutely.